we're always, you know, trying to react to what's going on. We've been doing this kind of work for, I guess, 13, 14 years now. And usually, this kind of work and a lot of activist work happens at times in history when things can't really change in a big way. And some of the activist work is generally about trying to change a small thing, have a good effect in a small way. And sometimes it's about keeping the ideas alive, the idea that there is an alternative to this insanity. Keeping those ideas in the public's attention for the day when things really can change. Yes, we've been working with organizations to develop actions, some of them simpler than this, some of them more complicated, different kinds of actions. And here in Rio, 2 days, yesterday and the day before, we worked with a group of, several groups of activists here to brainstorm and figure out a couple of projects that I'm really excited about. They were really funny. The projects are as funny as anything we've ever done, and I think they can really be winners. One of them, I'll just tell the vague subject, has to do with the favelas and the so-called cleaning process, you know, which is the part of this big cleaning of Rio in preparation for the Olympics, which of course includes spaces like this, turning, you know, industrial spaces, making them a little nicer by inviting polite people in here to give nice talks. You know, this process of making, yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, let's just face it, making Rio more palatable for wealthy people by activists with a little bit of coaching from us. It's really not rocket science. It's not that difficult to do these things. You just have to want to do them. You just have to want to put in the tons of time that it takes to do these things. But it's a lot of fun, and you know, 3 or 4 people can have an effect that's disproportionate. Like, you can get a lot of attention for something if you get 100,000 people in the street. You can also get a lot of attention for something if you get 3 or 4 people doing something really crazy. And so that's the principle that we've been working on. We're helping people be crazy. This was at the suggestion of an activist from Greenpeace. We set up a fake website for Dow Chemical Corporation, big chemical company, which had just bought a smaller chemical company which was going bankrupt, Union Carbide. They bought it in 2001. Union Carbide was responsible for the most murderous industrial disaster in history, the Bhopal catastrophe in 1984. An maintained, a poorly maintained plant in Bhopal, India, exploded, leaked, and killed 3,000 people at once, 20,000 people over the years. Never cleaned up, never compensated adequately, and the site is still toxic and children play in it. And when Dow Chemical bought Union Carbide, activists thought this is a great opportunity. We will pressure Dow to actually finally compensate the survivors. So we set up a fake website in the name of Dow, got a little bit of attention for it, and did a little action with it. It got some attention, not very much, but enough that search engines started noticing it. And 2 years later, on the 20th anniversary of the catastrophe in Bhopal, we received an email from the BBC, accidentally, to to our website. They intended to invite somebody from Dow onto the BBC to speak about the catastrophe, and they got us instead. They're very funny, and it's also, people like funny, so you know, it's a way of communicating things, getting messages across to large numbers of people that might not ordinarily listen to an activist message. They might listen because it's a really goofy message. They might, you know, I think a number of people who may not have been paying attention to the Chamber of Commerce opposing climate legislation just because it was important, did pay attention when they got this stupid, funny story of this guy and, you know, this altercation between these two people in suits. Made a lot of people laugh. So that's the function. It's just, you know, if it weren't effective, we wouldn't do it. We don't do it because we believe in it for artistic principles. We do it because it seems to work.